Dear students, welcome to our YouTube channel Chem Origin. This is Dr. Satish, RGUKT Srikakulam. Students, in this module, I deal with the topic specific heat and heat capacity. And these specific heat should be I recorded or calculated at constant volume and constant pressure. So, in this module, I deal with calculation of Cp and Cv values, derivation of equation of that Cp and Cv values, and also I develop the Cp minus Cr, means the relationship between Cp and Cv also described in this module, along with the molar heat ratio and molar heat capacities and latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization definitions also in this module I dealt. Specific heat, it is denoted with capital C. Specific heat is denoted with a capital C. So before knowing the specific heat, we should learn the heat capacity definition. So to explain this heat capacity definition, initially for example, you can assume in a cylinder a gas is a present. In a cylinder gas is a present. So this is our system. The gas present in a cylinder is our system. The gas present in a cylinder is our system. Let us assume. So in the cylinder gas is present, this is our system. So heat capacity, how we define heat capacity is that heat capacity, the amount of heat required, to raising the temperature of the system through 1 degree centigrade. For example, students, initially the temperature of the system here, for example gas, is initially 25 degrees centigrade. Let you can assume. So in order to raise its temperature by 26 degrees centigrade, how much amount of heat should be supplied to the system? How much amount of heat should be given to this system is nothing but heat capacity. So very easy definition, students. Heat capacity, the amount of heat required to raising the temperature of the system through 1 degree centigrade. In order to increase the temperature of the system to 1 degree centigrade, the amount of heat should be supplied to the system is nothing but heat capacity. Next, so next, specific heat. For explaining specific heat, we can see the definition. The quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance, or here substance means a system, you can take through 1 degree centigrade. Suppose students, here here gas is our substance, let you can assume. So the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of unit mass of the substance, let us you can assume, suppose if we divide our system or substance into unit masses, means you can assume like this. So I can divide this system into in this manner. So each box is a unit mass. Here you can see this is one unit mass of the substance or system. So this box is 1 unit mass and this box is also 1 unit mass. So like this manner, number of unit masses wide you can divide the substance in order to raise the temperature of the unit mass of the substance or system to 1 degree centigrade. So initially, let you can assume initially the temperature of this unit mass of the substance is 25 degrees centigrade. Then if you want to increase the temperature of that unit mass of the substance to 1 degree centigrade, means 26 degrees centigrade, how much amount of heat Q should be given to that system or substance is defined as a specific heat. Specific heat is denoted with a symbol capital C. Okay. So students, here we can concentrate on specific heat because we can develop a new relations. For that why I am concentrate on specific heat. Here in specific heat, so in order to raise its temperature through 1 degree centigrade, I have to give, let us assume Q amount of heat. Q amount of heat is given to the system. So the system or substance temperature is raised to from T1 degree centigrade to T2 degree centigrade. So whenever I am giving you Q amount of heat to the substance, its temperature is increased from T1 to T2 degree centigrade, then Q is proportional to delta T, or nothing but Q is proportional to T2 minus T1. Q is proportional to T2 minus T1. Q is proportional to T2 minus T1. So here your Q is proportional to T2 minus T1. That is nothing but our T2 minus T1 is nothing but change in temperature. T2 in degree centigrade minus T1 degree centigrade. So that is nothing but your change in temperature. Therefore T2 minus T1 degree centigrade we can write as a delta T. Therefore the amount of heat Q is given to the system, Q is directly proportional to delta T, nothing but T2 minus T1. Okay, so in order to remove this proportional, we can introduce a proportionality constant. Let us assume that is a C. Therefore Q equals to C into delta T. Here C is our specific heat. In this equation it is a proportionality constant, where C is a proportionality constant. Q equals to C into delta T. If we can bring this delta T from right to left, here it is in multiplication. Whenever it is coming to the left side, it is coming into the denominator. Here it is in numerator. Whenever it is coming this side, it becomes in denominator. Therefore C equals to Q by delta T, or delta T is nothing but T2 minus T1. So in this manner we can develop a mathematical relation for specific heat C. C equals to Q by T2 minus T1, or Q by delta T, where Q is the heat given to the system. C is a proportionality constant, and this is we can assume as a specific heat, and delta T is the change in temperature or rise in temperature. Heat capacity is a path function. Heat capacity is a path function. Heat capacity is a path function. Hence, it is depend upon the path, but does not depend upon the initial and final state of the system. It is depend upon the path of the system. In order to calculate the heat capacity of a system, then we should take the heat capacity at a constant volume and heat capacity at constant pressure, because it is a path function. In order to calculate this path function, we should measure the heat capacity at a constant volume and constant pressure. Let us assume that heat capacity at a constant volume is CV, capital C, and at subscript I put a V, and heat capacity at a constant pressure CP. Generally these two are known as a CP, CV, heat capacity at a constant pressure CP, heat capacity at a constant volume CV. Okay, so students, we can see how we calculate CP and CB values. In the earlier slide, in the previous slide, we derived an equation, a mathematical relation for specific heat. C equals to Q by delta T, or Q by T2 minus T1. But we know that from first law of thermodynamics, delta E is equals to Q minus W. Delta E is equals to Q minus W. From first law of thermodynamics, we know that, students, delta E is equals to Q minus W. Here in the previous slide we saw we are giving heat to the system to raise its temperature 1 degree centigrade. Here work is done by the system. That's why according to first law of thermodynamics, delta E is equals to Q minus W. If we bring this minus W towards left side, then it becomes, the equation becomes Q equals to delta E plus P delta V. And we know that, students, in the earlier module, W is equals to P delta V, because work in terms of pressure volume, we derived an equation W is equals to P into V2 minus V1, or nothing but P delta V. Therefore, here I placed, in place of W, I placed P delta V according to the pressure volume terms of work. W is equals to P delta V. That value is substituted here. Therefore, the equation becomes Q is equals to delta E plus P delta V. Let us assume this is your equation 1. Let us assume this is your equation 1. And you can assume this is your equation 2. And we already, you see, in from equation 1, C equals to Q by delta T. Suppose if we, according to from equation 2, we can substitute in place of Q delta E plus P delta V. Therefore, the equation becomes C is equals to delta E plus P delta V by delta T. Students, please concentrate on this. We are getting a new relation for specific heat. Let us assume this is your equation 3. This is your equation 3. C is equals to delta E plus P delta V by delta T. This is very easy derivation, students. Just already I know the relation definition. According to definition of specific heat, C equals to Q by delta T. And from according to first law of thermodynamics, delta E is equals to Q minus W. Here work is done by the system. That's why it is Q minus W. And this W is coming this side. It then Q equals to delta E plus W. In place of W, I substitute P delta V according to from work in terms of pressure and volume. Therefore, I substitute this Q value in the equation 1. Finally, I get a new relation. C is equals to delta E plus P delta V by delta T. So, students, I already told you heat capacity is a path function. So, in order to calculate this heat capacity, we should calculate at a constant volume and constant pressure. So, at a constant volume, how it will be, and at constant pressure, how the heat capacity we can see. Initially, in the first case, we can divide it into two cases. At a constant volume is one case, and at a constant pressure is another case. So, first we can see at a constant volume. So, at a constant volume, what will happen? So, student, let you can assume this is your cylinder. This is as a gas cylinder. In this cylinder, we can take a system. Let it be a gaseous system you can take. For our convenience, you can assume, students. No need to worry about this example. So, we can take one cylinder. In that cylinder, we can take gas is our system. So, for heat capacity, in order to calculate heat capacity, the quantity of heat given to the system to raise its unit mass of the system or temperature, unit mass of the substance temperature, in order to raise by 1 degree centigrade. So, the quantity of heat Q is given to the system. So, here what happens? So, the amount of heat given to the system to raise its unit mass of the substance by 1 degree centigrade. But at constant volume, what will happen? So, volume is constant means before giving heat, the volume is V1. And after giving Q amount of heat to raise 1 degree centigrade also, the volume is constant means the volume is remaining V1. Therefore, change in volume, that is nothing but delta V is equals to V1 minus V1, that equals to 0. Therefore, I write here delta V is equals to 0. Change in volume is 0. So, at constant volume, delta V becomes 0. But according to definition of heat capacity, C is equals to Q by delta T. Therefore, here we are calculating the heat capacity at a constant volume. That's why I denoted with CV, heat capacity at a constant volume. And my equation becomes, according to definition, QV by delta T. But in the previous slide or from equation 3, I already show you students, equation 3, Cv is equals to delta E plus P delta V by delta T. So that equation I substituted here. Here already I have a relation delta V is equals to 0. Therefore, P delta V is also becomes 0. Therefore, my equation is like this. Cv is equals to delta E. Cv is equals to delta E plus 0 by delta T. Because here delta E plus P delta V. But delta V is equals to 0. Therefore, P into 0 becomes 0. And my equation is becomes, and the equation 3, otherwise you can write here for our convenience, from equation 3 in the previous slide. So Cv is equals to delta E plus P delta V. Delta V is 0, therefore P into delta V 0, that equals to delta E by delta T. Therefore, I calculating heat capacity at constant volume, Cv is equals to delta E by delta T. Therefore, students, we calculate heat capacity at constant volume as Cv is equals to delta E by delta T. Next, we can see calculation of heat capacity at constant pressure. So, at constant pressure, how it will be, we can see. So, here we take a condition is that pressure is constant, but volume is vary. Therefore, before giving heat, its volume is V1. After giving heat, its volume becomes V2. Therefore, delta V is not equals to 0, because here volume is not constant. Only pressure is constant. And according to from the definition of heat capacity, C equals to Q by delta T. Therefore, heat capacity at constant pressure. That's why heat capacity at constant pressure. That's why here I write Cp. This it represents heat capacity at a constant pressure. Heat capacity at a constant pressure. From definition, this equation becomes Qp by delta T. Here P represents at a constant pressure the amount of heat given to the system. Therefore, Cp is equals to Qp by delta T. And from equation 3, Qp we can write as a delta E plus P delta V. Therefore, the equation becomes Cp is equals to Cp is equals to delta E plus P delta V by delta T. And we know the from the definition of enthalpy, there we can calculate a change in enthalpy is delta H equals to delta E plus P delta V. Students, in the previous module, we can calculate the change in enthalpy delta H with the help of the relation delta E plus P delta V. Therefore, here what I did in the relation Cp is equals to delta E plus P delta V. In this place, I substituted delta H according to the change in enthalpy relation. Change in enthalpy relation, it clearly represents delta H is equals to delta E plus P delta V. So, we know students, enthalpy is a state function. So, its absolute value we cannot calculate. Therefore, we can calculate change in enthalpy, and from that relation, we can derive there one equation delta H is equals to delta E plus P delta V. This value I substituted here and I got a relation Cp, heat capacity at constant pressure, is becomes delta H by delta T. So, students, based on these relations, I can derive like this. I can derive a definition is like this for Cv. So, heat capacity at constant volume is the increase in the internal energy. The increase in the, students, here I write for our convenience. So Cv is defined, here I define Cv, the increase in the internal energy, of the system, increase in the internal energy of the system with temperature is nothing but heat capacity at constant volume. So students, heat capacity at constant pressure, how we can define? The increase in the, here H is present in place of E. So we can define like this. The increase in the enthalpy of the system with temperature is nothing but heat capacity at constant pressure. So dear students, here we can see another definition. Molar heat capacities. Molar heat capacities is nothing but, suppose you can take a system, you can take a one cylinder, you can take a gas is present in a cylinder. This is our system. So students, many times we are taking this is an example. So this is where you can remember. So in a cylinder, I can take a frictionless piston. Inside this cylinder, I have my system which is our under investigation. So a gaseous substance is taken inside the cylinder. This is my system. Here what I did, 1 mole of a gaseous system I can take in. So the heat capacity at of 1 mole of a gaseous system at a constant volume and constant pressure is defined as a molar heat capacity. So students, in your examination like this may ask, what is molar heat capacity? Like a definition may be asked in examination. So what is molar heat capacity? The heat capacities of a 1 mole of a gas, 1 mole of a gaseous system at a constant volume and at a constant pressure. Because students, just now we can see specific heat and heat capacity is a path function. Heat capacity is a path function. That's why we can calculate at a constant volume and constant pressure. Therefore, the heat capacities of a 1 mole of a gaseous system at constant volume and at constant pressure is known as a molar heat capacities. So students, no need to by head vastly the definition of molar heat capacities. Already you know what is heat capacity, what is specific heat. So in specific heat or heat capacity is a path function. In order to calculate heat capacity, we should calculate at a constant volume and constant pressure. Therefore, the heat capacity of a 1 mole of a gaseous system, 1 mole of a gaseous system we can take in a cylinder. So for 1 mole of a gaseous system at constant volume and constant pressure is known as a molar heat capacities. Students, what is the advantage of this molar heat capacity? The molar heat capacity ratios. For example, you can take Cp by Cv. This Cp by Cv ratio is always equals to gamma. Is always equals to gamma. It is denoted with this symbol gamma. Students, you all know this is the symbol for gamma. Gamma symbol, gamma. So Cp by Cv, heat capacity at constant pressure by heat capacity at constant volume is equals to a constant. That's value is known as a gamma, denoted with a symbol gamma. Therefore, the molar heat capacity ratios, heat capacity at constant pressure and molar heat capacity at constant volume, the ratio of these two is equals to gamma. With the help of this gamma value, whether if you want to investigate an unknown gas is present in a cylinder, whether this gas is a monoatomic gas or diatomic gas or triatomic gas, you can identify it with the help of this molar heat capacity ratios. That is nothing but Cp by Cv or nothing but gamma. So based on this gamma values, we can identify atomicity of unknown gases, present in the cylinder. For example, students, a unknown gas is present in a cylinder. So to this unknown gas we can calculate Cp value, specific heat at constant pressure, and Cv value, specific heat at constant volume. So whenever we know the Cp value and Cv value, the ratio of these two, Cp by Cv equals to gamma. If the gamma value is equals to 1.67, if the gamma value is equals to or approximately equals to 1.67, then you can decide or then you can identify the unknown gas present in the cylinder is a monoatomic gas based on the Cp by Cv value or gamma value. Similarly, suppose for an unknown gas, if you calculate Cp by Cv value that equals to gamma value, if it is equal to or approximately equal to 1.40, the unknown gas is a diatomic gaseous system. Diatomic gaseous system. Or if the gamma value or Cp by Cv value of a unknown gas present in the cylinder is Cp by Cv value is equals to or approximately equals to 1.30, it is a triatomic gas. Triatomic gas. So students, we know there are triatomic gases, several diatomic gases. For example, students, for a monoatomic gas you can take noble gases, helium, neon, argon. These are all examples of monoatomic gases. For diatomic gases we can take H2, N2, O2. So these are all diatomic gases. For triatomic gases, CO2, carbon dioxide, SO2, sulfur dioxide. So in this manner, students, based on the values of Cp by Cv ratio values, we can identify whether the unknown gas present in the cylinder is a monoatomic gas or diatomic gas or triatomic gas. So this is the advantage of this heat capacity and specific heat capacities. So student, we can develop a relationship between Cp and Cv. We can see how we can develop a relation. So for this, you can take a cylinder. You can take a cylinder. Inside this cylinder, you can take 1 mole of an ideal gas. You can take a 1 mole of an ideal gas is present inside this cylinder. Inside this cylinder, you can take 1 mole of an ideal gas. 1 mole of ideal gas you can take inside this cylinder. So in order to raise the 1 unit mass of this substance temperature through 1 degree centigrade, the quantity of heat is required to raise its temperature is nothing but specific heat. The definition of specific heat is that in order to raise the temperature of a unit mass of the substance through 1 degree centigrade, the amount of heat required is nothing but specific heat, and the specific heat is a path function. In order to calculate its value, you can calculate specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume. So students, in the previous slide we can develop Cp is equals to delta H by delta T. Heat capacity at constant pressure is nothing but increase in the enthalpy of the system with temperature, and Cv is nothing but increase in the internal energy of the system with temperature. Therefore, if you want to find Cp minus Cv, the equation is becomes delta H by delta T minus delta E by delta T. You can assume this is an equation 1. So students, you know the definition of enthalpy. Enthalpy, H is equals to E plus PV. So enthalpy is the sum of internal energy and product of the pressure and volume is nothing but enthalpy. It is H equals to E plus PV. And you know the ideal gas equation, PV is equals to nRT. Here we are taking 1 mole. Therefore, the ideal gas for and here in this example, PV is nothing but PV is equals to 1 RT or PV is equals to RT. So what I did here, I substitute in place of PV, here I substitute this RT value. Therefore, the enthalpy equation is becomes H is equals to E plus RT. E plus RT. And this equation I differentiate with respect to T. So I differentiate this equation, students, with respect to T. And my equation is becomes like this. Delta H by delta T is equals to delta E by delta T. Students, you know R is an universal gas constant. So you know students, for a here you know that R is an universal gas constant. R is a gaseous constant, universal gas constant. So for constant, if you differentiate, it becomes 0. Therefore delta H by delta T is equals to delta E by delta T plus R. And you can brought this delta E by delta T towards left side. Then the equation is becomes delta H by delta T minus delta E by delta T is equals to R. You can represent this equation as a 2. Therefore, students, from equation 1 and 2, you can write like this. Cp minus Cv is equals to R, universal gas constant, for 1 mole of ideal gas. For 1 mole of ideal gas, Cp minus Cv is always is equals to R value. Students, this Cp minus Cv is equals to R is nothing but Mayer's relationship. Mayer's relationship. Cp minus Cv is equals to R. This is known as a Mayer's relationship, and it can also be written as a Cp minus Cv is equals to R. R value, you know, students, universal gas constant 8.314 joules per Kelvin per mole, or 1.99 calories per Kelvin per mole, or approximately you can write it as a 2 calories per Kelvin per mole. Latent heat of fusion and latent heat of vaporization. So these are small definitions, students. We can see each one by one. So what is latent heat of fusion? It is the enthalpy change that accompanies conversion of a 1 mole of a solid substance into liquid. So it is also known as a enthalpy of fusion. So students, please be familiar with these words. Both latent heat of fusion and enthalpy of fusion, both are represents the same thing. So the latent heat of fusion is also known as a enthalpy of fusion. So this is very simple. No need to by heart this definition, students. Directly, 1 mole of a solid substance is converted into liquid state. 1 mole of a solid state substance is converted into liquid state. During this conversion, the change in enthalpy or enthalpy change is nothing but latent heat of fusion. So students, simply you can remember here fusion. So fusion, solid into liquid. Fusion means solid substance is converted into liquid substance or liquid state. 1 mole of a solid substance. So during this conversion, the change in enthalpy or enthalpy change is known as a latent heat of fusion. Similarly, latent heat of vaporization. Similarly, latent heat of vaporization. In the latent heat of vaporization, same thing. Here, the liquid substance is converted into liquid state substance is converted into vapor state substance. So, the liquid into conversion of vapor, 1 mole of a liquid substance converted into 1 mole of liquid vapor substance, vapor state is. During this conversion, the change in enthalpy or enthalpy change is known as a latent heat of vaporization. So, students, in your examination, the question may ask like this: define what is molar heat capacity, what is specific heat, define latent heat of fusion, or define latent heat of vaporization, define enthalpy of fusion, enthalpy of vaporization. So, whatever the manner the examiner may ask a question, you can easily write these definitions. Just you can remember the two things only. Fusion, if he ask fusion, 1 mole of a solid substance into liquid. If he ask enthalpy of vaporization or latent heat of vaporization, vaporization means conversion of 1 mole. Students, please remember 1 mole. This is very, very important. Suppose if you forgot to write 1 mole in the definition, there is a possibility you may lose mark. So definitely you should mention 1 mole of a solid substance or 1 mole of a liquid substance is completely converted into vapor is nothing but latent heat of vaporization. So these latent heat of vaporization, so it can be easily denoted with a simple diagrammatically. We can also show this latent heat of fusion as well as latent heat of vaporization. In your mid-exam or sem-exam, if the examiner asks this question, along with these definitions, students, you can also write this diagram. You can also draw this diagram. So in this diagram, you should take temperature on y-axis and heat supplied on x-axis. See students, here this is I, this is my x-axis, this is x-axis, this is x-axis and this is y-axis. So in y-axis, on y-axis you can take temperature, on x-axis we can take heat supplied. So if you draw a plot, it will comes like this. So the solid substance is 1 mole of a solid is converted into liquid. That is nothing but latent heat of fusion or enthalpy of fusion. So here clearly mentioned. Similarly, this liquid into conversion of this 1 mole of liquid into gaseous state, that is known as latent heat of vaporization. Very simple diagram, students. You can draw x and y axis. On y axis you can mention temperature, on x axis you can mention heat supplied. Here you can draw a solid and you can draw here in a beaker a liquid and we can draw here gaseous state. So this is very simple diagram. You can write clearly in your examination.